Yes, I'm sure I want to start the stream. Smoking Lizard, after watching that video, I kind of want to just record our session tomorrow just to see what I'm doing. Yeah, it really kind of changed my perception of how I GM, you know? I knew I would like be doing stuff that I wasn't expecting, and I knew I'd be better at some things more than others, but there's definitely, I don't know if it's a universal thing, maybe it's just a me thing, but there's definitely a realm where like I just don't know how I come across, right? I think I do, I can't be sure. And we all know people who are like assholes or whatever, and they just don't even realize they're doing it. And it's like, man, if you could see how you were coming across right now, you would be horrified. Because I know you, and I know you'd be horrified at it. And there's also a lot of GMs out there. I don't want to start by calling people out, but there's a lot of GMs out there who are so sure that they're good GMs. You know, you talk to them and they're just so, they're so confident, and they'll say very matter-of-fact things. And they've not recorded. They've never played with themselves. They've never played with them as a GM. They've not had that experience. So it's overly confident GMs. I'm not saying they're not good, but it's such a different way of thinking than I have, where it's like, how can you possibly be so positive about like how you come across, unless they've just been doing it for so long and I've had a ton of feedback from players and they know their friends are like really honest with them, you know, maybe, but yeah. Dragon's Note 1000. Hey, what's the plan for today? What's going on? So today, oh, hold on. Oh, hello. What even is DH Quick Play? Okay. This is good. So the Daggerheart Quick Play is the Sablewood Quickstart adventure, and it's just like a one-shot that they made and released, I mean, before, like during the beta, I think. So it's like a year old now, and it's supposed to teach GMs and players how to play the game, and it's the only real official adventure we've gotten from Daggerheart to this day. So it's really the only thing we have to go off from how the designers of the game view adventures. And it's probably changed and it's very different now, but it's the only thing we have to go off. Silence, what's going on? You have total imposter syndrome. I think it's healthy. Yeah, I run it on the open beta playtest, yeah. So I plan on running this on Friday, live on YouTube and Twitch. So it's going to be a hot mess. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a hot mess for many reasons. And I'm mostly curious to see how the technical side holds up. I still have to create like an overlay, because it's going to be me and my friends playing over Discord or over some kind of video recording software. So I still need to get all that stuff done. But if you're around on Friday, it'll be in the evening, my time. So probably 7:30 EST. Like, we're going to meet up at 7. I'll probably go live and start playing the game around 7:30. I'm very excited about it. I don't know if like anyone will be able to like show up and watch at that time, but that doesn't matter, because this is more about testing it out. Like, can I do a live show full stop, and is it fun, and can I GM it like with the skill set I have, and can I technically like manage it? Can my internet manage it? So that should be fun. That should be a fun time, and that's in preparation for, they are releasing, I believe, from what I've heard, a sequel to this quick start for the anniversary. So I want to play this first quick start, which I guess is level 1, and then I'm going to go into the new one they released, which I would put money on is level 2 or tier 2, and then I will do that live as well. like the week after or 2 weeks after, so we can really see like the progression of Daggerheart, and we get to put some more like example plays out there of the game for hopefully new people, because these are beginner guides. So I'm UK, so I have to convert. Yes, if you cannot make it, because it will be, if you're in the UK, it will be too late for you. Let's say 7:30 EST. So for the UK, you would add 5 hours to that. So it's like past midnight for you. Do not worry if you can't make it. This is not like I need people here for it. I'm almost like, hopefully no one shows up, because it'll be easier. Because like, I don't know how I'm going to handle it. I don't know how my players are going to handle it with chat there. Like, yeah, so it's fine. And if you're a mod, it's fine. If you can't do it, it's like, it's not a problem. I don't think it's going to pull the kind of views that are going to be an issue. And if it does, then that's simply a good thing. Hey, it's a Friday night party time. Oh, I'm wondering if that is true, if it's party time Friday night, because normally when I live stream during the day like this. This is a really late one for me. Normally I go live an hour earlier, maybe 2 hours earlier, and that's like middle of the day work. And that's what YouTube says most of my audience are online. So I don't know what you guys are doing during the middle of the day. Watching me, apparently. So I wonder if it's just going to be very quiet Friday. We'll see. You work from home. I appreciate it. I'm not going to go. I appreciate it. Sleepers for the week. Yeah, and you can come in and you can check it out. You don't have to stay the whole time, you know. I mean, it might not even be fun for the viewers to watch it like that, because it's going to be in its most raw form. And I want to, like, engage with chat beforehand and in breaks. And maybe, like, occasionally just... I don't know how you... I mean, this is a good question for you guys who watch actual plays. I understand that people watch an actual play and they want to watch the game and they want to watch the story, and they don't necessarily want, like, the GM to stop mid-sentence and say, you know, I Beholder 12 says, planning on running this Friday for my wife and daughter for the first time, GMing ever. That's awesome. But you don't necessarily want, like, chat interaction with the live streamers mid-game. But I'm like, why is that? You know? Like, if you were watching someone play a video game, like they were playing The Witcher or Baldur's Gate 3, that would happen. And I think for some people, it just takes them out of it completely. I guess it's closer to watching a movie or a TV show, and then they break the fourth wall all the time and are like, hey, viewer, you still enjoying this? And it's like, what is happening here? But I do wonder if there's like a middle ground. Like, there's a light interaction from chat, which is just like, if someone in chat says something funny and I say it as a GM, and I see it as the GM, if I just say, okay, guys, roll initiative. Oh, that's funny. Player 2, Ringtail in chat says that you always roll low. And then, you know, the player's like, I do always roll, I do. And that's kind of the interaction, and we move on. So we'll see. Would it be worth watching old Critical Role videos on Geek and Sundry? They did a good job of putting shout-outs to chatters. I will check that out, actually. Yeah. We can be NPCs. That's in the pipeline, Smoking. That's in the pipeline. To have not chat as NPCs, but chat as, like, a character in the game. Like a player character. So you guys can play. It would obviously... There'll be a lot of, like, leashes and guardrails on there. But I would love to be able to, like... I've said before, you could have a character who is a clank, who is, like, thousands of years old, and is just so old and so, like, just not there and crazy that chat is just in their head. And most of the time, the clank doesn't do anything because it's just there. But then if chat has, like, if I see chat have a good idea and want to do something, I can get the person who said it in chat to roll, and the clank can try and do something. And obviously the clank's personality keeps changing and all that stuff, but that's all explained within the fiction of the story. that would be really cool, because that way chat can interact with the players' characters in, I think, really funny ways. And we can keep an eye on chat, and we can interact in that way. I think I wouldn't be able to be a player if I had to tend to chat. Yeah, so there's that. I think the way, because obviously GMing would be really hard if I was also like looking at chat, but I feel like it would be like I only look at chat in like 5-minute intervals. You know, I just look, I hide chat for most of it, and I just take a look, and then blah, blah, blah. Or you just take lots of little mini breaks, like 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, to be like, I think podcasts do it as well. Like podcasts, when they're in a section of talking about something, they are in it, and they might as well not be live, honestly. And in those scenarios, I'm like, why are you doing this live? But then they might finish up that topic, and before they go into the next topic, they might just be like, okay, let's see what chat's saying. And I think that's cool. So you could be like, okay, you guys are about to go into combat. This is D&D, I know, but just give you an example. In D&D, you could be like, you guys are about to go into combat, roll initiative. And while they're rolling initiative, I can be like, I'll see what chat's saying while you do that. Or even better, if a player is like, oh, I can't remember how this spell works, I'm just going to look it up. And there's like a good 30-second section where they're just double-checking something. Or I, as a GM, it's more likely, actually. I, as a GM, I'm like, oh, I've forgotten that rule, actually. Let me just double-check it. Or chat might know. And I'll like open up the book, and I'll be looking through it, and the players in that moment can be like, what's up, chat? Well, he looks like that. How is it? How are you guys doing today? That kind of thing. But I'm in a mindset of experimentation. So the next couple of weeks, months even, I want to do more live plays and try new things, and we'll see what works and what doesn't work. So, but things may be messy in the interim. That would be pure chaos. You've heard of Twitch Plays Pokemon? Is this Twitch Plays Daggerheart? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Twitch Plays Pokemon didn't have... You would just be the GM as well, right? You would just be, like, controlling everything. That would be chaos. That would be chaos. Can't believe Barnacle is afraid of water and there's no water in the quick play. Yeah, this quick play also has some criticisms thrown against it by other people that I've seen. I've read through it briefly. I'm going to obviously like deep dive into it, which I want to do today, to really get to grips with it before we run it on Friday. And that's what I mean by like the deep dive. And for people asking, the quick play, the Daggerheart quick play is the starter adventure that they have. That's free right now. You can get it on the Daggerheart website, and it's a short adventure that, from the looks of it, is a simple fetch quest. Delivery quest, observer fetch quest, I guess, where you have to escort a MacGuffin to a powerful, secondary MacGuffin, and the powerful secondary MacGuffin does something with that, and you have to like. Then I think it ends there. It's like it kind of ends open-ended. Where now we've got to take the MacGuffin back to where we got it from, and that's probably going to be the second adventure. But yeah. The original campaign had so much interaction with the modern ones, which the modern ones don't. Sad it's gone, but it's allowed the scaling up of the production. Oh, of Critical Role, yeah. Look, you guys know I love Critical Role. I'm a fanboy. They don't need to be live on Twitch every Thursday anymore. Like, they're not live. It's obviously, it's left over from when they were live, but it's certainly like, I don't know. I can't think of other like, if I didn't, I guess YouTube kind of has it with their premieres as well. I was looking at the new, like, official D&D one. The one with the Baldur's Gate 3 duo. And they do this big premiere thing where if you click on it when it's released, you watch it live and there's a live chat and people are interacting and stuff. And I was looking at it thinking, man, this would be good if it was just live. I think I've not thought this through, but I think I prefer actual plays that I know were live and I know were like done in front of an audience, because it just feels a bit more authentic to me. It feels a bit more like, yes, like less of a production and more of a game, I guess. But as I'm finding out recently, everyone watches actual players for completely different reasons. It's kind of wild. Did I mean quick start? Oh, did I spell it wrong? Oh, did I say quick play? Oh, thanks. Thank you. I did call it quick. I did call it quick play. My bad. Quick start. Lol. Lol? That's just like my gaming head. Okay, I fixed it. I fixed it like it never happened. Thank you for calling that out. Zayantist, hear me out. I want to play the potion NPC Malad McQuack, the shady snake oil salesman that sells questionable consumables to the party. Is it a real health potion or not? But for these prices, who can say no? I do like there's no reason you can't have like guest stuff happening via chat. I actually wonder if there should be an in-world excuse for like having something. Like, it would be like a clank, I guess, that would have like a monitor on them, and they would only talk in text messages, because that way chat like can like handle being involved in that world, because it's just appearing on a monitor. Put in polls of what you should do next. That's a really good idea. I do like that. Yeah. You ran it a couple of times during the beta iterations. Had a good time. Okay, good to know, good to know. The largest live channel I can think of would be Avantris. But the way they run it is usually they have a very long lead-in chat with chat-type things at the start. Yeah, I do like that. It's like you... and it happens as well with like gaming streamers. Like if they're playing freaking... League of Legends or whatever, they're usually not interacting that much during the game because they're concentrating so hard, because they've got to be good. And then it's in between games. It's in those downtimes where they're like waiting to get into the next game. They'll chat nonstop. And I actually think it's good for retention, because people kind of know they have to, if they want the interaction, they have to wait for it. So they come in mid-game and they're like, oh, I want to, okay, we have to wait for the interaction, and they'll wait for longer potentially. So I do like the idea of, like a build up to the game where we chat about the game and just everything. And then then just breaks throughout. Like like every 30 minutes, take a 5-minute break and just chat to chat and about maybe what just happened, what's about to happen, that kind of thing. And then chat at the end as well. Even as someone who doesn't watch Critical Role, I wish they would have run a full Daggerheart campaign. The main campaign opting for 5e took some of the wind out from the game's hype, I hate to say. Sinister, I was thinking about this earlier. And it's true. It is true. It definitely did not help Daggerheart. But I do have a little bit of a problem with how they handled it, and that was that they didn't say what they were playing for weeks. I don't know if you guys remember, but Daggerheart came out, it was a success. They said, we're doing a special thing with Campaign 4. We've got a big announcement coming up. So everyone just presumed they were gonna, not everyone. It was like in my chat and in my things, it was kind of 50-50. But a lot of people presumed, oh, it's a big announcement. They just released Daggerheart. Surely they're going to switch to Daggerheart. And they kept it quiet for like so long. And then when the release happened, that made me feel a bit like this is a good business decision, but were they just worried it was going to hurt sales of Daggerheart if they like gave that information out too early? That's all hearsay, and I don't blame them. Like, I don't even know if like those core people are like in charge of that stuff. But yeah, it was like a bit of a bummer. However, when it comes to should they have gone with Daggerheart or not, I don't think they should have in the end of it. Because you have these two very different businesses and two sides of the coin. And on one side you had Critical Role, which has always done well, but was definitely in a weird place in Campaign 3. I remember a lot of online talk saying that people had fallen off, they didn't like Campaign 3, all that stuff. That happened. So there must have been a thought process of, we need to do something to rekindle our actual play, our main business, our main moneymaker. We have to do something big. And they also haven't hidden the fact that they've been wanting to expand out from the core like founders of Critical Role and bring in way more people and increase the longevity of it as a franchise. So I think they were planning maybe not like the Brennan Lee Mulligan campaign, but they were certainly planning things around that like that for 5 years. Like they'd been planning that kind of expansion to new people and probably getting away from Exandria for years. I have no doubt they were talking about that and putting stuff in motion there before Daggerheart was a thing. And then I think they kind of thought about Daggerheart and they were like, maybe we could do that. It'd be good to diversify. And then the OGL thing happened and it made them push the button, and they started creating Daggerheart. So what we actually ended up with, I don't think people, I mean, this is just theory as well, but I think people kind of think it was like they were deciding between one or the other. But actually what happened is they had these two things being made in unison at the same time. And it was probably a very hard decision. They probably didn't know which one to go with. But the smart idea would have always been the actual play. Because they don't know what Daggerheart's going to do. They don't know if it's going to be a success. They don't know if an actual play would be successful. We still don't know if an actual play would have been successful. But certainly they have a lot of data telling them that if they bring in Brennan Lee Mulligan and do a D&D campaign, that it could be very, very successful. So they went with that. And it's a shame because as someone who makes content about Daggerheart, who enjoys it, who is playing that game a lot right now, if they had gone with Daggerheart would have been more successful. So would I. I would have more views right now. I have no doubt I would be making more money. It would have been great. So I'm a little bit bummed. But that's because that's purely from a selfish point of view. But I also think that if they'd gone with Daggerheart, it would have been a huge boon for Daggerheart, but I think views would have gone down for Critical Role by a lot. And Critical Role makes more money than Daggerheart. And Critical Role can use that money to put into Daggerheart. Daggerheart, I don't think, is going to make enough money to put back into Critical Role, if that makes sense. I think it makes sense to me. It does make sense to me. So, but I just thought I would say something there, because I keep seeing that still to this day about like how, I know that's not what you were saying, Sinister, as well. You were just saying like for you, it took wind out of your sail for the game's hype. I agree. But I occasionally see some comments that, not occasionally, a lot, that are like, Daggerheart is gonna fail because this is what they did. And part of me is like, actually, I think because they made that decision, Daggerheart has a better chance of succeeding in the long term, personally. Because the Critical Role Darrington Press ecosystem, the more successful it is, the better for everyone, like as a whole thing. And I think the whole thing is going to be more successful because of Critical Role going with with D&D again. In a weird way, it's kind of like Magic and D&D, both owned, by Hasbro, and it's like, sure, they could like cut all the funding that goes into Magic and put it into D&D, and D&D would be better in the short term, but they would lose insane revenue and customers and all the people who love Magic and how wildly successful that is, and then they could go out of business, and then we lose both, Losasaurus, have I checked out any third-party content I enjoy? Honestly, yeah. Like, there's a lot of third-party stuff out there that's good, and I've not been able to check out all of it, and I've definitely not been able to play all of it. But I like Bob Worldbuilder's one-shot that you can grab. I think it's called Death at Hellfest Spire or something to that degree. And honestly, there's a lot of I've seen like a lot of good third-party content available for free on the Reddit. Like, people just be making it and putting it up there for people. And I've seen some good stuff. Am I going to be going to GameCon Canada? I will not be. No. It's not close to me. It is in the same country, but it is not close to me. So unfortunately, no. No, it'll be a whole like hotels and plane tickets, and I'm in low budget survival mode at the moment. Would love a quick play button on some virtual tabletop and just jump into a Daggerheart game, imagine. I liked Age of Umbra, looking forward to more of that, yeah. I also, personally, as a viewer, I've actually not watched Critical Role Campaign 4 for a while. I usually go back into it when I'm trying to like make a video about it, and I'll watch it. But I just don't have the ability to stay on it week by week. And what I've done with other campaigns is I've taken breaks and I've come back and I've watched like recaps and stuff to catch back up. I don't think I've watched an actual play that's ongoing like that for years all the way through. But something like Age of Umbra or Dimension 20, I do like 8 episodes, or 12 episodes. Standalone thing, start to finish, and you're done. And I think that should be the norm, honestly. And I wish Critical Role did more stuff like that. As long as Daggerheart keeps getting support, I'm happy. It does seem to be, yeah. Jay Bird, how's it going? Hold on, what were you guys saying when I was saying about that? Because honestly, the whole choosing D&D over Daggerheart thing is like, it's almost like a hot take. I feel like, I don't know how you guys are going to react to that. Age of Umbra was fine, and in my opinion, it is good. They didn't use Daggerheart for the new campaign. It was too soon. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, selfishly, I would want them to have done Daggerheart for the new campaign. But objectively, their new campaign would be way less successful. I don't think Daggerheart was in its final state when they started recording the episode, and with Brennan as a new DM, it would, yeah, there was a lot of stuff there. But I'm not just trying to be a fanboy here for Critical Role. I do not like how they handled the announcement. I think they should have announced it way earlier. That at least that they weren't doing Daggerheart, because they were kind of leading people on a little bit. They would. I think there was even. Actually, maybe I'm just like misremembering things to suit my needs here, but it was weird that they left the system to be like, what system are we going to use? They had it wasn't going to be Exandria, big announcement. It wasn't going to be Matt DMing, big announcement. It's Brennan DMing, huge announcement. There's going to be like 5 new players, huge announcement. They had enough of those huge announcements, and honestly, to make out that one of the other huge announcements is that the campaign that had used D&D for the past 10 years was going to continue to use D&D. That shouldn't have been like an announcement. But it probably wasn't. I'm probably just misremembering and I'm getting caught up in all the, like, you know, the hype and drama around that time. But I certainly do think when they saw the discourse online, when they saw that people were like, oh, maybe it'll be Daggerheart, they should have just said, we're not doing Daggerheart. They should have just said that, like, straight away. Because the reality is, a lot more people probably bought Daggerheart because they thought there was a chance that they were going to use it for C4. So. So for the mistake in the comments, I'm on the iPad while eating. Fine. C4 is already gambling a lot. By bringing new faces, swapping systems is a risky move. It's a huge risk. It's a huge risk. Yeah. All very fair analysis for the West Marshes show and the new cast. D&D was the right move. As a Daggerheart first fan, it was not the right move for that system. All depends on what you're more... Yeah, I agree. I doubt Daggerheart was born from the OGL. Darrington producing its own TTRPG was its natural progression. How many Wildman books could they make? I mean, they've got Arrowman now, right? So they just make Arrowman books. We won't know, I guess, so there's no point in arguing, but I wouldn't be surprised if the OGL stuff made them, like, speed things on with that stuff. But I'd have to go back to look at, like, when the announcements for certain things happened and when the beta came out, right? Because they're good at business. They'd be silly if that didn't, like, affect something, because that was a huge moment. And did they release... I don't know if any of you guys know or you have access to the internet, but when did they announce... When was the first time they announced that they were working on a fantasy TTRPG? And was that before or after, like, January 2023, or whenever the OGL was? Me personally, I think it's purely because there isn't enough high-level content for them. You can make level 20 characters over years, and the skills and tweaking has been made, and the resources there, but high-tier play, apart from their internal testing, just wasn't there. What do you do when your players are OP and you don't have anything in place? Wait, Silence, what was that for, sorry? The fact that you're covering the Quickstart today and playing it live on Friday is perfect timing. I'm running my first game ever next week, Wednesday, and it's a Quickstart adventure. I'm thrilled to hear your takes on it. Yeah, we'll jump into it. We'll actually jump into that. Let me just grab this up. Don't think you're misremembering. It was a big mystery that became unnecessarily annoying and a bit divisive. Yeah, they could have handled it better. Also, Sam did a joke about changing systems in one of the first C4 episodes. That joke that Sam did, people, like, do you think that is a good thing or a bad thing? Because I can see it both ways. I can be like, oh, they're listening to us and they kind of know what they did, and this is like their little nod that, like, we're seen as Daggerheart fans. Like, oh, they gave us a nod there. Or do you think it can also be seen as, I don't think they did it on purpose, but seen as a bit, like, dismissive? As an almost like, oh, we could, we could have played it, but we didn't, and it doesn't really give us any answers. It's just like, I don't know. Way before, as they released Obscura's system before Daggerheart. Oh, so Daggerheart officially announced on April 20th, 2023, and Campaign 4 was August. Okay, so when was the OGL? Was that January 2023? Let's have a look. Not that this solves anything. This is just purely... OGL, D&D. The open play test was March 12th, 2024. Controversy. Yeah, it was January 2023. So it was after the OGL that Daggerheart was announced. By far, in fact. So, did someone say it was before? But if all those dates are true, then it would like line up. Like the OGL happened, they were like, oh, maybe we should make a game. Draw Steel, DC20 are doing it, and they're getting a lot of traction. Maybe we could do something here. Then they spent like a year developing it, getting into a state, and then they released the beta. I don't know, it lines up for me. And there's nothing wrong with them creating Daggerheart because of the OGL. Like, it showed that there was like a marketplace for other games. What's this about? A quick start. We're looking at the quick start adventure from Darkness Press, the Sablewood one, which is let's take a quick run through of it, because it's actually not. It's nowhere near as big as I thought it was. Sablewood indeed. Yeah, I'm gonna run it on Friday, so live on Twitch and YouTube, which I'm kind of nervous about. Yeah, totally free, totally fun. So here it is, and like I said, I've looked through this before, like ages ago, and I looked through it just yesterday. I gave it a quick run through again. Never played it, never looked into it too deep. But the first interesting thing about this is that it has pre-generated characters, right? It's got Marlowe, Fairwind, Barnacle, Garrick Reed, Kari Nix, Varian, Soto, and like information about them. And then later it's got like character sheets for them. So it really is just pick up and play. You don't need, I don't think you need cards or anything, because they're all in here. But the interesting thing is that Marlowe, who is a pre-generated character, if you ran this as is, just turn my music down a little bit on my side. Marlowe must be played during this adventure. So it's actually got like a, a must-happen thing, which was interesting. Now, I looked through it. I don't think you need that. I think it's easier for someone to just pick it up and do. I think you can easily play any characters you want. You don't have to play the pre-generated people, and you can easily just shift like the stuff about Marlowe into other stuff. And honestly, when I skimmed through it, I probably missed something because it was a skim. I never saw anything that was specifically like Marlowe has to be here. Like it won't work unless any particular person is there. I think she's, and we'll find out, but I think she's just there to kind of tie the group together and be a player who is constantly, because this character is the one that's tasked with doing this important thing, and the character is the person who really cares about getting it done. So I think it just ties the whole thing together and gives momentum and like a goal. But maybe there's something else in here. With the pre-gen characters, yes, indeed. Right, silence. I like the quick start, but I think it misses some of the best Daggerheart features. It lacks interesting environments and action scene. Yes, it does. Yeah, environments would be nice. Thank you for the follow, Summer Otaku. How's it going? But one thing I think this does well is give you a nice framework on how to kind of like structure your own games. There's a bit in here that I love, and I actually didn't mean to, but I did a very similar thing in my adventure that I wrote, and we'll get to that in a bit. But mostly, I think there's a ton of pages in here, but most of them aren't necessarily needed. So you've got like the introduction here, you've got like text box of stuff to read. This is just being like, Marlowe Fairwind, the right-hand sorcerer of King Emeris, has gathered her most trusted allies to carry an important package to Hush, a small village. That's kind of it. It's like, hey guys, hey players, you have to take this package to this town or village, and that's like the story. The crate is large, heavy, and sealed with magic, addressed to the White Fire Arcanist. You've been given a map and a carriage and a promise of a reward upon your arrival. And that's kind of it. And then it goes into like the characters. And character sheets. And they're the cards. And it does that for every single one of them. And when the actual adventure starts, you're pretty deep into this PDF. Page 22, you have a game master section. And this is just kind of running through how to play the game. So if you've played it already, or you understand it, or you have the core rulebook, you don't necessarily need a lot of this stuff as well, which is cool. It's good for people who don't have that stuff, and if you have it, you can skip all this stuff. I think it talks. Interestingly, I think there's some nice lore stuff in here that I've not checked out. Like, the Sablewood is a seemingly endless forest of dark trees that reach hundreds of feet towards the sky. Some say they have been here since the time before the Forgotten Gods. And I get very excited about lore, like Daggerheart official lore. And we haven't got a ton of it, but the thing that we've got the most of, that is the most interesting to me, is this idea of the Forgotten Gods and the New Gods, and how the New Gods defeated the Forgotten Gods in an epic battle a long time ago, took their place in like the heavens, the Hallows above, and kicked the Forgotten Gods down into the circles below. And that is kind of like heaven and hell. So like all the like demons and the devils and people from hell were actually, they used to be the main gods. They used to be the main pantheon, which is how I'm understanding it, which is really interesting. And there's some really fun stories you can talk there about, like the forgotten gods, the old gods who are now, banished to hell. Can they reclaim their throne? And also, where did the new gods come from? Because seemingly the old gods were there for a very long time. And I think there's some really fun stuff there. I just realized now, what if the forgotten gods, the original gods, created the new gods, and then the new gods overthrew them? It's kind of like humans creating machines and AI, and then AI getting so powerful and wiping out humans, right? There's a lot of cool stuff there. So it's nice to see it in like an official adventure, even if it is just like a throwaway line. And it talks about how it's famous for its hybrid animals. It talks about Hush. Apparently people had some issues with role-playing Hush, because it's supposed to be a village where everyone is incredibly friendly and nice. And I saw multiple like Reddit posts where people were like, yeah, I got my players to go to Hush. Everyone was really nice and accommodating and happy and helpful. And my players just thought it was a cult. Like, it was too happy. So and I would think the same thing. Like, it's like, what is wrong with this town? Why is everyone so helpful? There's something going on. The town has skeletons, right? And there's no reason why you can't go down that route. There's no reason why. Like, if the players think that and you like it, and rolls go down that, they roll with fear on certain things, you can totally have the town being a cult, maybe worshipping one of the forgotten gods. And now the players are in danger because they do sacrifices or something. You could go really fun ways, but as written, purposefully so, it's as simple as possible. It's just a very friendly village. Then Away sounds like the plot to American Gods show, or even Has Been Hotel. Yeah, the Forgotten Gods stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They did it in a Brazilian version. Oh? The first encounter should be played with the Thistlefolk leader trying to steal the cart. I understand it after the first time, when I run an encounter. Okay, interesting. Just ignore that factory that says smile on it. Didn't Zeus defeat his father? My Greek mythology is not on point. My players were paranoid about the niceness. Yeah, I think it's a fun thing to lean into and see what happens. One of the best features that all my players loved were the hybrid animals. Very cool. Very cool. But yeah, so the goal is get this carriage, get this huge crate to a very powerful magic user called the Whitefire Arcanist, with the idea being that she will know what to do with it when you get there. So that is just like get there, fundamentally. Then there's a mechanical overview, which I believe really is just like how to play the game, which spans a couple of pages, how the character seats work. Then there's another page about how to teach the game, more teaching the game pages. And then in my opinion, the actual adventure doesn't start until page 28. And this is the first thing I love about this one-shot adventure, and I want them to keep doing. I love the acts. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, Act 5. It's actually more like scenes, if I'm being honest. Or, I guess Hush is multiple scenes. Like, Act 3 is multiple scenes, but the treehouse is like barely a scene. It's an encounter. Oh no, I guess it's both an encounter. It's both a little mini environment encounter, and it's also a social encounter too. But I like this. I like how it's laid out. I like the idea that you can be like, okay, I can. I see what I'm doing, and I see the trail of what's going to happen. It's obviously railroady, but I don't know how you really get around that in a adventure like this. But if I was running this for my home game and I knew I'd be very tempted to take every one of these acts and turn it into a full session. I think that would be really fun. I'd be like, okay, Act 1 is the carriage. On their way to Hush, the PCs run across an overturned merchant's cart, blocking their path. A Strix wolf is feeding on a driver who is dead. Act 1 and Act 2 should also be the same act, I think, because they deal with this Strix wolf, and I think it looks like it's going to be quite fast. We'll see when I play it. Then the PCs are ambushed by thistle folk who try to steal the carriage holding the delivery. These two are like pretty much the same thing. I think the Act 1, the Strix wolf, is mostly there just to give the players their first role and to show them what that feels like. And the actual starting encounter is this. It's like, that's the tutorial, and then this is the first kind of like little battle. And it's really nice to see that they've decided to be like, we're going to start with combat. Because Daggerheart combat can be fast, so just start with a quick combat, and then we'll end with a combat as well. And I think if you're ever unsure about structuring your games, I think in Daggerheart, starting with combat and ending with combat is really nice. With the starting combat being easy and not taking too long, like 20 minutes tops. And then the last combat taking longer, like 30, 40 minutes. You can kind of play it by ear and see how close to the end of the session you are. But I think that's a really good situation here. Also, interestingly, it goes from combat to exploration with social encounters, because you're exploring the village of Hush and you're meeting NPCs. Then it goes to more exploration and social encounters. Then it ends with... in fact, it's a 5-room dungeon. I'm an idiot. It's a 5-room dungeon. Yeah. It's like potential combat or... like Guardian blocking the way that you've got to get past first. Then the second room is combat. Then the third room is social exploration, and then combat to end with, and then reward. But it's a nice structure. It's very nice to kind of flow on from. Act 4 is really more of a quick puzzle encounter than anything. Act 4, yeah. Well, I think when I read through it, it's a reveal as well. So you get like the little puzzle, and then you talk to the Arcanist, and you have that social encounter. And a lot of information is revealed. So that's kind of what I see by that act. Yeah. Act 1 is a bit of a tutorial, yeah, but I also think that they just wanted to show off their version of the owlbear. That's true as well. And when they made this, like, the game's in a very different state now, and they've learned a ton. So I don't think anyone should, like, judge them on this adventure. This is why it's so exciting to see what the next adventure is going to look like, because they've had time to like master it almost. A Strixwolf can still be hanging around during Act 2. The players from my first group cleverly created a Strixwolf pelt on one of the thieves to have her attack them too. Very good. It would make sense to have Act 1 and Act 2 run together. Yeah, I think so. I feel like it's... also, like, you could teach, like, if they are rolling with... Nice roll, by the way. Well, an 11. Well... an 11. It's an okay roll. I like the idea. We're getting very in the weeds here, but it's a good way to like teach complications. So if the players roll with fear when dealing with the Strixwolf, because the Strixwolf encounter isn't necessarily a combat encounter, it's more like a animal handling check, and then we're going to see what happens, right? Or they like, how do you handle this kind of thing? A 13? Okay, you're making your way up there. The DC is 15, unfortunately. And you have a +0 to that roll. So it's a nice way to be like, okay, you try and like tame the Strixwolf, but you rolled with fear. So the complication is the Thicket Thieves attack. What's interesting is I need to look. Do they say you spend a fear to make the Thicket Thieves attack? We'll get there. So then you have the merchant cart. There's stuff to read, which I don't think I'm gonna read. I don't know if you guys read these text box verbatim when you do adventures, but I think I'm just gonna take the idea of them and go with it. We'll see. It actually depends how much time I have to go over this and like really get my head around it all, because that can take time in itself. Making my way. Did I say making my way? But look, should dump start. I think this is a strong first adventure. Good. The thing is missing the most, in my opinion, is environments. Act 4 has an environment. Should have worked well, but in my opinion, that's the weirdest scene in the adventure. I honestly see the quick start as exclusively a tutorial that assumes you've never heard of the game or another TTRPG. Viewing it through that lens, I think it actually makes a lot of sense. Why, for example, Acts 1 and 2 are separate. You first introduce a couple of the GM principles. Yeah, and I don't want it to seem like I'm like criticizing this when I say these should be this. I mean, like, in my mind, when I run this, I'm going to think of these two, Acts 1 and Act 2, as the same act. So this is not about the adventure as much as it's about how I'm going to run it in my head and how I'm going to make sense of this in my head, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Act 1 is very much like what happens when they roll success, failure, critical success. Then describe the Strixwolf moving towards PC, head down, tail wagging. Right. So, I think this is one of the hardest things about this stuff, is the idea that, like, there's like any failure has the same effect, and any success has the same effect, and any critical success has the same effect. When really, depending on your players and how they're acting and what they're doing and where you think the story should go next, I think this should be very malleable. But I think it's really useful to give you an idea. And I think that's where I've gone when writing adventures. And it's not telling you like, oh, if you get a critical success, then this happens. It's saying, if you get a critical success, the best thing happens for the players. For example, this can happen, or this can happen, or this can happen. And that way it's less like, oh, you rolled that, this happens. It's more like, oh, you rolled that, oh, what could happen? And I've got some ideas, and I can fall back and I can just use this if need be. But at the same time, I can just like come up with something myself or ask my players what they think should happen and go from that. Adler, what's going on? What is this? This is the quick play adventure, the quick start adventure. I keep calling it quick play. I'm first person shooter battle royale brainwashed, so please forgive me. Cast, the Thicket Thieves attacking is just a consequence of the party trying to make it past the point where they set up the ambush, so you don't have to spend a fear. I might still spend a fear for that. I'm going to see how much fear I have. Sometimes I do that. I don't know if you guys do that ever. I don't know if that's a thing, but sometimes I just throw a fear away because it's kind of fun, and it does make stuff like that just easier, I think, for me and the players to be like, oh, you get ambushed, I'm going to spend a fear. But if I'm low on fear, I don't do that as much. But if I've got a lot of fear, I will just do some throwaway fears. So yeah, Thicket Thieves, the Fallout, let the events of the previous acts play out, allowing the players to roleplay and take other actions using scenarios below for guidance. Okay, so this is like scenarios for guidance. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's like leave it very open-ended, giving examples. Guide, don't instruct, you know? Guide, don't order, I think is like a good sentimentality if you're like making an adventure for this. If your players are already familiar with the Daggerheart mechanics, you're going to fly through this adventure. I'm kind of okay with that. I'm kind of okay it being very fast. But equally, if you have players who really like to roleplay and get into it, it could make it much longer as well. How many people here had the Strix Wolf help fight the thieves? It is a fun outcome. It is a very fun outcome. One mechanic they omitted that I felt needed to be added when running this for the new folks was the tag team. Fair. I think the tag team is one of the best features of Daggerheart, and I think when players do it, maybe not for the first time. I've always hit like with new players, getting them to understand the idea of the tag team is a little bit hard at the very start, but it's probably just the way I'm bad at like teaching that. But once they click, oh my god, tag teams are so fun. They're so fun, and I think going back to any TTRPG that doesn't have them is very difficult. Sekiro's version did a great use on environments. Okay. Try to befriend it. If it's fun and you are playing the game correctly, that is literally the first rule in the book. I've ran this adventure multiple times. Always worked as intended and a fair amount of fun. Nice. Tag team, yeah. Tag team's so much fun. Wait, is this Sablewood? This is Sablewood, yes. Another issue, the adventure wants a presence roll for the Strix Wolf, but twice now I've had the Marlowe player just create an illusion instead of lure the wolf away. Yeah. Once again, it should be like... I understand why they did it. It's like a hard tutorial. Like a set-in-stone tutorial. It's like when you're playing a video game, and it's like you wake up and you're in like a closed-off area, and the game is like, press A to jump. And it won't let you do anything until you press A to jump. And then it's like, and enemies come out, and then the enemy starts swinging a sword at you, and it's like, press B to roll out the way of the sword. And you can just keep slashing the enemy. You can like try and run away from the enemy. You can like try and defeat the enemy other ways. That would work in any other part of the game. But because it is the tutorial, it's like, no, you have to press B to roll before we can continue. Then you press B to roll and it kind of unlocks everything for you. That's what it's like. It's not there to make sense. It's not there to be how you're going to play the rest of the game, but it's just there to give you that knowledge to start with. Because realistically, if you go back up to here and you took this stuff and you put in all extra stuff of like, ask them what they want to roll, or what do you think they should roll in this scenario, and then choose what makes sense. And that makes this 1 page 2 pages, and it's just not needed. It's just not needed. But it does have stuff here where, like, if the Strix Wolf is there and they get attacked, it tells you what could happen if they fail and stuff. It's got this the ambush encounter environment, I should say, and then more stuff. And this is just a fight, as far as I can tell. It's just a little battle. These thicket thieves want what their party has, so they're going to try and take it, and the party's going to defend themselves. And then it continues. We've got stat blocks for the Thistle folk, which I've not looked at actually. Daggers makes sense. Serrated blade on the Thistle folk thief. It's got the 3 ambushes here, so you can mark HP and stress on here. Same here. Ambush. When the ambusher enters the scene without being spotted first, they can immediately move into melee and target. Melee with the target and make an attack against them on a success they strike. Okay, so they don't actually have any features outside of the ambush one here, which makes sense. They're supposed to be the most beginner-friendly thing, but I wonder if I can add something fun there, actually. And then the Thistlefolk Thief. Back off, action, spend a fear to make an attack roll against all targets with melee range. Any that succeed against are blasted backwards. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's cool. A little magic damage on the Thief. Yeah. Yeah, it does make sense that they're trying to steal the package, and that would be their goal. I'm going to play it like that, for sure. But then they do that combat, and that's over, and they go into Act 3. And at this point, we're halfway through. We're halfway through the adventure already, which is, yeah, it might be quick. Maybe I'll make a few more environments for this if I have time to go in between. For hardcore D&D players, bringing them into Daggerheart, the biggest struggle I found was getting them to spend hope. They were so used to hoarding resources. Yes. Mine was, and probably will be if I play with anyone new anytime soon, it's experiences. It's, I've struggled getting people to create experiences because it's something you don't really, like, it doesn't click until you're playing and you use them. So, and then they want to go back and change them. But once again, this might be just me being a bad teacher. But experiences are hard for new players to get their head around if they come from D&D, because they just want to know exactly what it does. And you're kind of like, well, it can be used for anything. You just have to convince me. And it's a very liberating thing that's hard. It's scary at first, almost, to come up with your experiences, especially if you're like, I'm going to be playing this character for months. These have to be right. Which is why I always say, like, you can go back and change your experiences in the first, like, few sessions to anything, because you won't know. You almost want to play a little bit with the character to really define that stuff. But then using experiences. Players are reluctant to use experiences because it costs them a hope, right? So it's the same thing that you were saying, that they don't want to spend resources. But they'd be far more willing to, like, give the help action or something than, like, use an experience. And I think that changed when my players kept failing rolls, and I was just kind of like, yeah, you guys should be. I honestly think Daggerheart is set up that when you make a roll, the stakes are higher than a normal roll in other games. So you need to be like, you need to be stacking your stuff for every roll. Every roll is important. You need to be stacking your stuff to have the best chance of success. Because there's always going to be a chance that you roll with fear, and there's going to be a complication. Nothing you do about that, but there's a higher chance of there being a complication or you failing than you just straight up succeeding with hope. So you need to stack the dice into at least succeeding. And that means, one thing I say is, like, if I was a player, whenever I was making a roll, if I could, I would always try and spend an experience on it. And if I can, I would always try and get another player to give me the help action to get advantage on it. I would always be doing that. And I think when the players first started, they were like, nah, I'll roll, see what I do. And then eventually they just kept rolling really unluckily. And it was like, you guys need to be you need to be spending hope. You need to be adding stuff to these rolls. You just do. I think the game is designed to be like that. But then I've talked to you guys. People in chat have been like, my players succeed on all the rolls all the time. Like, I'm having to increase the difficulty because they will just roll and succeed. I'm like, that's not what I've found that my players are like often rolling what they say they roll, which is like 10, 11, 12. And if I'm setting DC at 15, even with a +2, they're not passing it. Even with a +3, they're not always passing it. But then they add an experience to it. They get the help action. And not only are they using more of their character sheet and spending more resources, but they're also like bringing in other members of the team to help out. And I thought that was like by design, but maybe it's just that my players are bad at rolling. I've used the Thief's back off feature to get the one driving the wagon off it so they can take the reins. That's fun. Isn't there a tier 1 river crossing in the book? There is. That's probably the easiest to put in there. That's true. Yes. There's also, what else is there in tier 1? I think the ascent is in there as well, like where you climb something. And that could be a fun thing to throw in randomly, potentially. By that I mean, imagine like the wagon can't go any further and Hush is just up a cliff face. And not only do they have to climb it, but they have to climb it with this huge crate, this heavy crate. And it's like, okay, how do you guys do it? You can't like, and one of the characters will be like, well, my character can fly. And it's like, can they fly with the crate? No, they cannot. How do you guys get up there? Because that has been an issue I've faced, actually. That is an issue I've faced, and I've been trying to work out how to fix it. And that is putting environments in that are vertical, that in other TTRPGs would be something the players have to scale using skill checks or using resources. Yet in Daggerheart, if you just have one character who can fly, it changes the whole difficulty level because they've got rope and they just fly up. So I've played around with environments that like affect flying creatures specifically. So, you know, I've had like descents. Like you've got to climb down into a temple. It's pitch black down there. And one character's like, I just fly down to check it out. And I'm like, you fly down, but you hear like fluttering of large bat wings and you see them like bats flying in the darkness. I'm going to get you to roll an agility check for me. And if you fail, like you get swept away with these bats. Or if they're climbing something really high, there's like strong wind, right? And it don't have to be that bad. It can just like cause a stress, you know? You fly down and then you're pushed back up a little bit because all these bats are flying into you and you take a stress from it because it's not nice. And then it's like, okay, do I want to try that again and maybe take another stress? Or do I want to like help the other, do I want to go back up and figure out how to get down here with the players kind of thing? Dagger has way more options to handle flyers than 5e ever did. I mean, we have ranged adversary as a type. Yeah, in like fighting scenes, but I mean more exploration stuff. I like the idea of throwing something in front of the players and it's like, how do you get around this, you know? And a lot of my vertical stuff led to players just being like, or not in vertical, but like a large chasm, right? The bridge is broken, how do you get across? And one or two players are just like, I fly over. And then, you know, we take the rope from the other side that the other players have and we tie it. And then, you know, you still have to have certain players make the crossing, and it can be dangerous for them. But it's helped by the flyers. And it's also, I just don't think it's like, it's not fulfilling that some characters are affected more than others, you know, with that stuff. But don't get me wrong, I love that, like, flying is just a thing you can do in Daggerheart. I love it because it makes sense, because people in fantasy worlds can just fly. I'm saying as a GM, I think there's like an extra layer of making stuff like that more difficult, and it's something that I've played with, and I've not found a consistently good response to it. As a DM, do you often use fear to use adversary experiences? I rarely do. I rarely do. And that's not out of any reason except the fact that it's just an extra thing to think about. And I don't think I've ever had like huge... The only time I would do it is like if I've already missed like 3 times in a row. And I'm like, this fight is not having the impact I want it to. So now I'm going to start spending my... the same with stuff that's marked stress as well. It's like, if I need to spend a fear to do something or mark stress to do something, I only ever do it if the fight's not as impactful as I want to. Then I switch it up. Or if I want the fight to be impactful off the bat, if it's like a big thing, like an end fight or something, I go in swinging at the start using that stuff, then tone it down. Adversaries don't really have experiences. They do. It gives them a bonus to hit. One issue I had with experiences on these pre-made characters was that my players found a lot of them seemed applicable only for attack rolls, like Deadly Aim on the Ranger. What is the Ranger's experiences? Yeah. So one thing that... obviously, I know I said try and use an experience as much as possible. I should say, you're also not going to be able to use them for every role. I'm just saying, like, try to. It's actually going to be quite rare, I think, that you're going to be in a world where you're like, I have this, can I use this? But I should say, I personally am very liberal with it. I haven't found that the game breaks if you are very generous with how they use their experiences. Quite the opposite, actually. But a rule of thumb that I think is in the core rulebook is that when you create your experiences for your characters, the like a good place to start is 1 combat, 1 out of combat. That's kind of where you start. So that's what they've done here, and I think it's fine. Like, Nature's Friend is also a pretty big thing here. I've got your back, not afraid of anything. They're a bit more open-ended, but I can see 1 being combat and 1 not. Affable, hit them hard. 1 non-combat, 1 combat. And you can use these vice versa, like you can use them outside of combat and in combat, but that's kind of, when making them, that's what they've thought. They don't see me coming, strike a deal, combat, non-combat. So that's what they're doing with these experiences. Royal Mage, not on my watch. I would say a similar vibe. And I'm also going to say to my players as well, they can change their experiences as well. Like, they don't have to use those experiences. As far as I'm concerned, they can change these characters. They're going to be playing those characters, but they can change them really however they want, you know? Oh my god, you're watching the Daggerheart I recorded, and now you see now I'm live. What do you think of it so far? I'm under no illusions. I don't think it's the best thing in the world, but I'm proud of what we made with the actual play. And like I said, I'm doing another one on Friday, so you know, keep an eye out for that. You mean you didn't ask for a check on crossing the rope? I would have done, but I couldn't ask a check from the flyers, you know? I also don't like putting my players in a position where, like, if you're crossing a massive chasm via a rope that could snap at any point, and they fail with fear, I'm like, oh man, that puts me as a GM in a very tough position, because what happens on a fail with fear? I mean, the rope snaps, right? And then you and all the other people on the rope, it's a very fun, like, what do you do moment, but for, like, just a little encounter, it's kind of potentially very deadly. Very deadly. I don't know how I could GM my way out of not killing someone if they rolled badly there, and I don't necessarily want to kill someone on, like, a little environment that is kind of there for fun to use up some resources. Or it just so happens that all canyons and cliffs are 60 to 70 feet across. Oh, so they don't have enough rope? Yeah. One thing I've run into, and I'm not sure the science of it, actually, players love to get different pieces of rope and tie them together. And I'm wondering if I can do something about that. In all games, that makes it like, okay, roll for every knot you do here. And we'll see how good the knot is. Oh, my camera. That's fine. I'm just going to turn it off for a second. We're just going to be cameraless for like 2 minutes while I let my camera cool down. Only lasted 1 hour, 20 minutes. Well, I can't wait for this to happen when we do the live stream. That's going to be fun. I don't have a fly in my Witherwild group at the moment, but I've still made sure they notice danger above them in case they ever do make a new character that fly. Yeah, that's smart. So they're always prepared. That's one problem I had. I had a fairy and a flying seraph who would just fly around, half problems the other players had to deal with. Yeah. I just think, like, there's an environment in the core rulebook which is like the cliff face one, and I wish they had put a little thing in there that said, like, if someone tries to fly, this is what's stopping them. Because if you have just one flyer, it can, like, completely negate so much of that encounter, of that environment. No sound? Wait, can you not hear me? Flying already costs stress. I'm fine with it. Flying doesn't cost stress. Oh my god. Yeah, I've read that already. Reminder, you can spend fear on another's experience to increase their difficulty. And not all adversaries have experiences, yeah. Honestly, I don't use them that much, specifically because I forget they're there. I can hear you. Good. It's just Maurice. It's just Maurice being a jerk. He's probably muted me. I'm not objective because I'm fanboying. Polkey, in the Age of Umber campaign, I run one of the PCs as a fairy with spirit transformation. They just go intangible and fly through walls, but they found through trial and error that umbral winds can appear very unexpectedly. Yeah, stuff like that. It's not a bad thing. It's just you've got to get a little bit creative to make them take a moment, you know? Because really, all it takes is if players want to fly over an obstacle, you just want them to roll an agility check. That's all I want. Like, have an excuse to roll an agility check to see if you make it over there. And then it's like, what happens if they roll with fear or fail? Because even if you are in combat... Here, let me turn my camera back on. Come on, work. There we go. Even if you are in combat, you can't move far range without rolling an agility check. So it kind of makes sense that you wouldn't be able to fly you know, without rolling an agility check. And then it's just like, oh, you rolled with fear, strong wind comes and you take a stress. And that can be enough. That can be enough for me. I just don't want them to like get through it easily. And if they fail, it can even be like, if you fail, the strong wind comes and it fatigues you so that your wings get really tired and you float back to the ground. Something like that. But how difficult do you reckon you'll make the ambush combat? If you're thinking you'll scale it up, how do you reckon you do that? I don't think I will. I think I'm just going to run it as is to see what's what. Naja. I let them switch stuff up so long as they aren't exploiting the game. You have the good faith of that. Yeah. I asked the flying PC to describe how they help their land-bound allies. Yeah. It's just 90% of the time. You know what? I'm just going to ban rope. Rope is banned. No, no PC has rope anymore. You don't start with rope. It's incredibly rare. It's very hard to make for some reason. You don't have rope. What are you going to do now? Huh? What are you going to do now? I like experiences more than a skill list because experiences are more personal. The rope snaps and everyone on it swinging, slapping to the way marking HP, and now they need to climb up. Yeah, actually, Zayantis, that's actually really good. That's actually a really good answer to that. Yeah, I'm stealing that. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Yeah. I love experiences, but I've seen some players struggling to come up with something good. I think it's a common thing that players struggle to, on their first time creating a player, coming up with something is difficult, for sure. And I think it's worth having like a list of, in the core rulebook they have it, like a list of examples that they can just take if they want to. If there's no pressure on the situation, why ask for a roll at all? Sometimes I ask for rolls to see where the story goes next. And I don't think that is in the core rulebook, and I don't think I've heard anyone else really say that, but sometimes I do. So because I often will improvise so heavily, I will like, and if players are doing something and I don't really know where this story should go next, or I'm just lazy, and the player wants to try something, I will get them to roll, even if it's something that they could probably do, or it's quite mundane, won't affect anything. Because then if they roll with fear, then coming up with a complication there can take the story into a completely different scenario and direction. So I kind of disagree with the very common and like official idea that you should only roll when it's like important. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think you can roll and make it important. You know, you can come up with a way for it to be important. But I might be in a minority there. All it takes is a massive eagle snatching a flying player out of the sky and hauling them off alone to a random nest once, and the emotional damage will last forever. Yeah. Yeah. It's in the core rulebook. Duality rolls requested when the outcome is uncertain. Yeah, but sometimes it's certain, is what I'm saying. Sometimes I'm like, let me give you an example. Let's say, I'm blanking now, but let's just say like a player wants to try and, or I guess what I'm saying is sometimes I put stuff in place that is uncertain where it doesn't need to be. Or I'll put an obstacle there where it doesn't need to be, and then the role is created out of it. For example, the players want to walk into someone's room to find something, or they want to get into a room to find something. And actually, the door could easily be open, and if I kind of knew where the story was going and I wanted to like get through it, I would just be like, yeah, you open the door, it's open. But instead, I'll be like, actually the door's locked, just to make them roll, just to see what happens there. So we're getting into like a weird, we're getting deeper into the mechanics of this thing and the psychological decisions we're making than I think I'm qualified to talk about, but yeah. I double checked, flying doesn't cost us stress, yeah. But some flyers have an action you can do while flying that costs stress, I hope, yeah. One of my players has a blank slot since we hit tier 2, and at level 5 it's still blank, and I don't know what to suggest anymore. Yeah, you would hope that, because they're just missing out. They've nerfed themselves, so that's their choice. How does it compare to Lost Mines? That's a comparison everyone wants to see. Lost Mines is much bigger. It's a much chunkier thing, because this is like a one-shot. And Lost Mines is like a bigger boy. Certainly the way I've always run it is a much bigger boy than a one-shot. Here's my example. Player opens their bag. Normally I don't ask for a roll, but this time I do. They roll success with hope, and inside the bag is a cute critter taking a nap. Failure with fear. They didn't notice the raccoon that robbed them. Yeah. And that's like the story. Yeah, I agree, Zion Test. I think you can make them roll to decide story. If you're ever unsure. I like that. By the way, apparently Alchemy VTT will include all of the FSRD Daggerheart content on release. Will you be trying it out when it does come out? I will be checking it out, I think. But I should also say that I'm like the wrong person to listen to. On my D&D channel, I did a video looking at 3D VTTs, and I looked at a bunch of them. And I just discovered that that's not how I play. So I'm like I'm not a good voice to listen to. Like I could go on there and I could be like, this is really good, this is really bad. But like you're listening to someone with barely any experience in like using VTTs like that. And also someone who doesn't intend on really using them. But I'm curious to see. I'm curious to take a look from just a point of view of like, what have they done here? And is there anything here that I could use? But I'm not going to be like giving it a really good review, like trustworthy review, you know? Because I'm just not. There's other people who will be much better at it than me. I've used Alchemy for Fabula Ultimate. It's very theatre of the mind focused, but if you like using maps and minis, it may not be your favourite. Oh, interesting. One of my players keeps on trying to give himself really long experiences, like trained by Roy of the Chipped Skull in Cobbletat, and I'm like, just say trained by the Chipped Skull. Yeah. I'd like just trained Roya, right? The offer still stands to run a one or couple shot using Foundry for you and your group or chat. Thanks, Scientist. I just don't have time. But that's good. If it does not bother him, it's fine for me. Right. Okay, anyway. Let's continue on here. So, you get through Act 1, the Strix Wolf. You get through the ambush, Thistlefolk, Act 2. And then you come into Hush. And this is where it gets interesting, and I like this a lot. So, rather than telling you about this village in great detail and being like, here's all the things the village has, that I've seen like other adventures do, it actually just says like, you know, description, the village, and here's some NPCs that the players could run into, and you can kind of drag and drop them in front of the PCs at any point, right? Like if players would like to talk to an NPC, you can choose one of the following options. So you can drop them in front. So if the players go in and are like, I want to go check out this, then you can just put one of these NPCs in that area and have them talk to them and give them more information. And I really like this because it's like the town is very much like left up to you and your imagination, and then these are tools to fall back on. But then it kind of does railroad you into the tavern, which is fine. And then you can like talk to the barkeep there and get more information about where you need to go. It's got this optional area of the first Moss Festival, which I guess is just in case you wanted to give more detail to the town and spend more time there, you can do. And then it's just when you're ready, when you've got your fill of this place, guide the players in finding an NPC who will help them. If they bypassed asking someone in town, just use one of the NPCs from the list here instead. After a few exchanges, you can have the NPC say something like, "Oh, you've got to go. This is where you go." So it's kind of just like a safety net. It's like, okay, describe the town, let the players have some fun in the town, and if they still don't know where to go after a while, you can just like force it by making them interact with all these NPCs in some way. And I like that a lot. It's kind of like how I play. It's just very much like, we're going to wing it, but if things get out of hand, I've got this like break glass in case of emergency button, which is like an environment or an NPC or combat or something that can just like bring things back together again. I've run both Sable and Phandelver, and to give it a fair compare, Sable is about as long as chapters 1 and 2, and Sable has more meat on its bones for the number of scenes that happen. Okay. There's more of the world narrative that is given in Phandelver. Interesting. But yeah, and that's kind of it. And the reason why I like this Act 3 so much is because this is probably one of the longest acts, time-wise. And it's like one of the shortest here, just because the information they've given you is so succinct. But it's probably one of the hardest things to run as well. So we'll see. Then the Treehouse, which is Act 4, where the players finally get to where they're trying to go to, which is to meet the White Fire Arcanist. Just a powerful magic user. This is interesting. So, to use this image here is the easiest way to, and how I understand it. The players get here and they see this like acorn conker-shaped house structure 100 feet in the air, or like very high up in the air, and they can see that there are lights inside through the windows and they're flickering, maybe someone moving around. It's very clear that this is the White Fire Arcanist's home, and it's not easy to get to, and it's tied around this tree by this rope that's connected to this stone here, and on the stone are some runes. If I remember correctly, this is after reading it. On the stone are some runes, and the players can shout to the Arcanist from below, but there's no response. So then it's like, okay, what do you do? And this is a very open-ended encounter where they can try and do anything. It's most probably going to be they're going to try and scale the tree or scale the rope, or maybe if one of them can fly, they can just fly up there and get the Arcanist's attention, which is, once again, a pity, because it just circumvents this whole... It's exactly what I was talking about. It's like, it breaks this whole kind of like encounter. But it's fine. You could come up with a reason why they can't just fly straight up. And in fact, I think maybe they might have something built in here, because they do have some things here that stop it. So if you try to cut the counterweight rope, obviously if you cut this rope, this will fall down and be destroyed. So they've got a thing in here that says, if you try to, it will immediately magically blast everyone backwards a few feet, dealing a point of stress. So they'll try that once, and they won't try it again. It's impossible. You cannot cut this. The runes on the stone are magical, and there's a protection thing. So maybe you could have like also like if someone tries to fly up to it, same thing happens. It blasts them back, right? If they try to climb the tree, which is probably the most likely thing they do, it gets an agility roll with a difficulty of 13. On a failure, a limb of the tree grabs them, gently sets them down on the forest floor, then resumes its original form. So it's very clear that this tree is like a magical security thing, and it will like reach out and grab people and put them gently on the ground. it will blast them back if they try and F with it too much. I like the idea of asking the players what they want to do, and this is what I think about when I think of environments. It's like, what would I do if I was a player in this scenario? And obviously you could try climbing it. I would also try to like look at the runes on the rock and figure out what they are. And if I do that, is there an answer? Is there a thing there? It's like a knowledge check to see what they do. And if they roll well, they can find out what it does, and they'll find out, oh, it's here to stop people from, you know, getting in there. God damn it, my camera. This could be a problem on Friday. This could be a problem. It's fine. I'll figure it out. Yeah, they find out more about the rock and stuff and how it works, and maybe if they roll very well, doing anything magical, understanding this tree, like stairs can appear, or a ladder can appear for them to climb it, and that would be their answer if they can't just get up there. And then you can just see what they want to do, because they might be able to come up with something else really cool. But I do like this. I like the idea that you have an environment and you have something that you really don't want them to. You have a thing that they can't do, which is just shout. You have a fail-safe if they want to do something awful, because if they cut the rope, they're like killing the person inside her, which you just don't. You don't even want them to accidentally do if they misunderstand the situation. So this stops them from doing it. And then you have an example of what will happen if they do a likely thing. And I like that. It's like, you know, here's the situation, here's the failsafe, here's the most likeliest thing. And with those things, you can fill in the blanks for yourself of what to do, which is cool. Is this an open fit? This is old school. This has been out for a year, this quick start. This is random, so feel free to ignore. Oh, I've started reading it now, Adler. Oh no, I can't stop. But I had this idea of a support class enemy that is holding an incense lamp on a chain. He takes one spotlight to draw a rune out of smoke and another to activate. It is very cool. Acorns fall every time the player fly about halfway up and hit the flyer on the head. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Other things that can stop it from happening. This encounter was a weird one for me. It's really loose and lots of players didn't know what to do. Yeah, I can say, for new people especially, it is very open-ended. The treehouse is probably why they didn't include the fairy player character, Tegan, that is in the Marauders adventure because of flying. What's the Marauders adventure? What's the Marauders adventure? The Quickstart Sablewood is one of the first adventures of Daggerheart available in the website downloads. It was released at the same time as the game. Yes. Thank you, Voltis. Let's try and turn the camera back on. I don't know why my camera's overheating so much. This could be really bad for the live stream, actually. You know what? I'll set up like my webcam as a second thing to switch to, because unless it's a game that when my camera overheats and goes black, we talk to chat for a bit and we take a little break and something happens. I'm also just kind of scared that it keeps doing it and what that's doing to my camera. Like, should I be if it's getting this overheated, should I be like trying to fight it so much? But I have a webcam. It'll be less quality, but for a live stream, which if you're new, by the way, I'm doing a live stream of this adventure on Friday, 7:30 EST. Please come. I don't want to do this to 0 viewers. But I'm so bad at this because I'm also like, but also it's fine if you can't come. I'll be okay. Like I don't want to be someone who's like guilting people. Marauder is a follow-up to Sablewood, I believe, but it wasn't updated with balance changes or something. Oh, I need to look into that. Maybe that's what we're gonna get on their birthday. Noctua. Let me note that down. Actually. Wait, what did I do with my post-it notes? What is that allowed? Is that a quiet fan? It would have to be quiet. That's the only thing. I presume it would be. Noctua. NF. A14ULN. Hey, Tech Products, stop being insane with naming stuff, just letters and numbers. Yeah, the fan, okay. Noctua equals fan. I'll take a look at it later. Will you go live on the main YouTube channel to get more notifications? No. No. Like I said, this is mostly a test. My camera might not even work. My internet might not be able to take it because I'm playing with my wife and she will be joining the call from her room, and my internet might not even be able to like do multi-streaming. So there's gonna be a lot of bridges we're gonna have to cross as we get to them. But I want to do maybe I'll do some D&D actual plays on the main channel. I kind of want to keep the two of them separated as far as like Daggerheart goes for now. But then I'll edit it down, and if it works, if it's fine, I'll edit it down, and that may go on be a collaboration. Or I might make another video all about the process of it and what I learned, like I did my last video. Marauder is the first quick play. It's better than so interesting. But it's like not official anymore. Was it during the beta? So Marauders of Windfall is another one-shot from the beta. Right, it includes all the same pre-made PCs, plus Tegan. Poor Tegan. Got kicked out. But it has to be converted to the current version of Daggerheart since it was... Oh, I wonder if I'll... Maybe that could be a fun stream or video. What you could do is just layer a photo of yourself doing a thumbs up under the camera on OBS and then hide the camera later. Yeah. I kind of like the idea of making that, you know, the technical difficulties. This is a British thing, but like there's the doll that comes up on TV when there's technical difficulties. Making my own version of that, but it's me dressed as the doll, potentially. You could go faceless for today's stream. Honestly, maybe I'll get a VTuber. Maybe I'll get a PNG tuber situation. That's just for me. I don't like watching like streams or videos. Certainly streams where I don't have any kind of like visual connection to the person running them. I'm fine with videos, but like live streams. Excuse me, what doll are you talking about? They're like the doll in like the 70s when TVs, they had the thing that popped up, right? Right? No take back, let's see those VTuber models. It's just going to be a ginger dude that looks like Fry from Futurama. I don't know. Don't know what you want from me. Okay. Anyway, fun like environment here. And then you meet this Arcanist, and they are a 7-foot mix of humanoid and firefly, which is freaking awesome. The Arcanist is a fairy that moves in combination of both very slow and sudden jerky motions. So I can already tell what the personality is going to be like through that. Though her expressions are difficult to read, her emotions are very clear in her voice. She's old but spry, and she eyes the group mischievously. And she's like, "Cool, show me what you brought me." Let the players roleplay with the Arcanist a little bit. Have her ask questions and stuff, and then once the scene's run its course, she'll ask to see the package, and then inside the package is a massive stone with a lion's face carved into it. Marlowe, you recognize this, so this is I guess where Marlowe needs to be in here, but it can also just be any PC that might have a connection to this package. The package is a keystone of the capital city gate's main archway. Do we know what the capital city is called from this, or is it open-ended? The Arcanist nods sagely as soon as she sees it and says, of course the king would keep this delivery a secret. If anyone knew your city was no longer warded, you would be conquered before sunrise. Oh, I should say I missed something here, because we're skimming over it again. And it's big. And it's when they go into Hush, Hush also has like a protective barrier around it. So you've already been introduced to the fact that in this world, villages, towns, and cities can have like a protective barrier that protects it from dangerous things. And that's what this package is. It's a big rock that will protect the capital city. So the fact that it's not in the capital city anymore and it's broken and needs fixing means that the capital city is in like danger now, right? What's interesting is, and it might be in here, but when the players enter Hush, I think it's very obvious that they walk through this barrier. So wouldn't people know if the capital wasn't protected anymore because they would also be walking through the barrier in and out? But maybe it works differently, or maybe I misread it. And then this like leads into Act 5 really nicely. We must travel to the open vale to revitalize the ward. It's not an easy thing to make this ward work again, but such an effort of magic will attract dangerous creatures from the darkest reaches of Sablewood. I'll need your help. So that's like, okay, let's go. And they travel to the open vale, and this is like, you know, the typical video game thing where it's like, protect me while I complete the spell, and she's gonna like put magic and energy back into this ward to make it work again, and creatures are going to be coming out in waves and attacking the players, and you just have to defend her at all costs, which is a fun encounter because it's not just about fighting, it's a defense thing, which is nice. And is it just, wait, how many? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 ancient skeletons. They're standard, but they can do a group attack. I mean, they're standard, but they're fundamentally minions with 2 HP. They're so close to minions. Okay, so very easy standards. Remember, standards are not created equally. Oh, I see. So I'm gonna read through this. This is the part that I'm the least familiar with. The ritual begins. The Arcanist lets out a shrill cry. The keystone has finally responded. Quickly surround me. The ritual must begin, or I'll lose the pathway. Hurry. Her body begins glowing brighter and brighter. As her eyes roll backward into her head, and the entire carriage lifts a foot off the ground. A collection of unearthly screeches echo from the woods as nearby creatures are alerted to the arcane energy. Cue a Matt Mercer, like screech, like animal screech. Then 4 ancient skeletons emerge from the ground. Oh, from the ground. Rusted swords in hand, disturbed by the forces of magic being used by the Arcanist. In the distance, 2 forest wraiths float ominously toward you. I'm going to start a countdown. Die for the ritual. Your goal is to hold off the enemies until... Yeah, okay, cool. So you get a countdown as well. Okay, this is very nice. This is actually... I kind of like this. Environment features... Vengeance of the Veil. Spend a fear to summon 2 additional ancient skeletons from the ground within... Okay, cool. So it's just like a summon that you can do as much as you want, I guess. But they're very easy skeletons to take down, so it's not that big of a deal. And then they've got a battle guide. Oh, it tells you how to... Oh, interesting. Okay. Tells you what to like concentrate on, kind of thing. And then the forest wraiths, I've not seen these before. Resistance to physical damage is painful. That's an oof. That's an oof. Memory Delve. Make an attack roll against a close target. On a success, the forest wraith flies into melee range and places their hand upon a target's cheek. Asks the player to describe a terrifying moment from their character's childhood, then deal 3d4 plus 9 magic damage and make them vulnerable until their next rest. What the hell? Okay, that's a really good ability. Mostly because it makes the players roleplay in combat. I love that. But it also, that's a lot. Vulnerable until our next rest is crazy. But I guess this is the final battle. So it fundamentally means they're vulnerable till the end of this fight. And vulnerable, if people don't know, means that anyone attacking them gets advantage, which is kind of crazy. And pass through. Spend a fear and make an attack roll against a target in melee. On a success, the Forest Wraith passes through the target, pushing their soul from their body momentarily. It's like Doctor Strange pushing Spider-Man out, and he just kind of swims through the air back into it, making them untethered. They cannot act again until the ritual countdown ticks down, clearing this condition. That's not fun. I'm surprised at that, actually. Normally, I feel like Daggerhearts, they don't like taking players out of the fight like that, even if it is just for, like, you know, a quick action. If the entire party becomes untethered at the same time, they all mark 2 hit points and their souls return, clearing the condition. Interesting. Dementor, they are kind of Dementor coded, yeah. I find it weird that this capsule is unprotected bit, because it sort of makes it seem like there's a rush to repair it, but the end is like, well, it will take me days to get it finished up. Yeah. Also, you would tell Marlowe, like, this is so urgent, right? But maybe it's one of those things where, or the way I would explain it, just off the top of my head, if I had to, I would say there's no, like, danger to the capital. There's no imminent threat. It's not like they are surrounded by dark forces. It's actually a time of peace. Sometimes my Ring doorbell runs out of battery, you know? And I'm not expecting any packages. I don't need to, like, look through my doorbell camera. And I'll just let it be out of battery for longer than it needs to be. And then I'll finally charge it, you know? That's what it's kind of like. But and there'll be other times where, like, you know, there's been some break-ins in my neighborhood. And I keep getting packages that aren't, like, that are broken because I think the Amazon people are kicking my packages, and I want video evidence. And the second my battery runs out on my Ring doorbell, I'm replacing it as fast as possible because I need it up. And that could be the difference. It could be that it's just a time of peace and they don't necessarily need it, but it's nice to have. So they're a bit more chill about it. When I ran this, having the Wraiths start at far range made a big difference. Those Wraiths are nasty. Right. I might think about that, yeah. Maybe I'll send one in first. Because I'm sending in 2, right? But yeah, that's pretty... Both these moves are like... I'm surprised. But I like them, but I'm surprised. A ton of HP as well. Depending on how well the players roll and how hard they hit, I guess. There are 3 environments total: Lucent River, Open Vale, and Titan Steps. Yep, it's Hush. Go to the Hush section and read through the second paragraph. Went too far. Through the trees of the Sablewood... Sorry. Though the trees of the Sablewood are unchanged here, there is a distinctive, safe and comforting air. A few smiling faces turn to you as your carriage rolls in, waving or casting warm greetings towards the party. There is lively music. Is this what you meant by the second paragraph? Huh? Oh, page 4. Dude. Hold on. You're sending me on a wild goose chase. I don't know what I'm looking for. No. We might be looking at different things. Different versions, maybe, potentially. Anyway. Yeah, the ritual ends when the die ticks down to 0. Move to the epilogue. Okay, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool ending, actually. So, here's what I think about this, because I've heard people criticize it. I think it's really good if you already are, like, comfortable running Daggerheart. And I think it's probably fine if you're brand new to it. I think it's probably good, but I think when people run into issues with it, or the issues I've heard, I think I've either heard them misunderstand what it's actually saying here, which is fine. Like, it happens to me all the time. Like, I think I'll understand something I don't. Like, I saw one person, I can't remember who it was, but they read this as, if they try to cut the counter rate rope, it will immediately blast them backwards a few feet, dealing points of stress. And I think they read that meaning that you can succeed on cutting the rope. And that was an option. That's like, oh, if the players don't know what to do, you can let them know that they can try to climb it or they can try and cut the rope. And it's like, no, what this is actually saying is that this isn't an option. It's impossible to do. Because the thing I was looking at, they were like, but then you cut the rope and it comes down and it smashes the ground. Like, they understood it that they cut the counter rate and this thing falling down is what blasts them backwards and makes them take a point of stress. I am no longer going to be on camera, or not for like 10 minutes, just so people know. Just so people know. I apologize. And yeah, the last page. Return to the veil. Read the following aloud. As you deliver a powerful blow, the ritual ends. The carriage comes falling to the ground as the keystone vibrates with arcane energy. Then all at once, a soundless explosion erupts from the Whitefire Arcanist, dissipating any last enemies who might remain. The clearing is quiet once again. And then you cut back inside the treehouse. Not but an hour later. I like that. I like the way that is written. Not but an hour later, the keystone sits suspended carefully above a rumbling fire in the hearth. The Arcanist, who looks even older now than she did before. Oh no! Oh no, she gave her own life force? Sits cross-legged in an overstuffed chair. This is an exhaustion in her voice as she speaks. There is an exhaustion in this voice, sorry. I can't read, guys. I apologize. You fought hard. I'm not surprised, of course. The king keeps good company. I'm very glad you were there. Right, and this is what you were talking about earlier when you guys said it's weird that the keystone will need a week, maybe more, to allow the magic to settle. I'll need to watch it carefully to ensure nothing cracks or becomes sentient or anything like that. You know how it is. In the meantime, after you rest and you gather yourselves, have a nice hot meal and a warm bath, I have one more thing to ask of you. We pull out of the Arcanist's home, out of the forest itself, to view the verdant expanse from above and see twisting stone spires breaking through the tree line, each with a flame flickering within the tower like a beacon. There's a spire just west of here, maybe a few hours' walk. I felt it on the way to the ritual. Its power was strange. The light felt weaker than it should be. I think something might be terribly wrong with the Spire Keeper, and I fear that will happen if its fire is extinguished altogether. I fear what will happen. When you're ready to come back, I'll give you my map so you can make it there safely. It's good to have heroes in the Sablewood again. Oh, so the new adventure is going to be that. I thought it was going to be them taking the keystone back to the capital. But no, it's doing something else. Interesting. Yeah, I kind of dig this. I kind of dig it. It starts off... It gets better as it goes on, I think. Ooh. I found it weird... No, I read that already. Apologies. I don't think a tiny village in the middle of nowhere could be considered a capital city with a king who also sent a package with a broken ward stone from who knows where it is. Oh, wait. Are people saying that Hush is the capital? It is, though. Read the Clovis Tavern part. Considered by most to be the oldest building in Sablewood, this is the hub of activity and socialization in the city. Hush is a village. It very clearly is stated as a village. But let's see the... The Clover Tavern is a sight to behold with 6 curving stories climbing to an ancient tree. This is the heart of the community, always crowded with music, good nature. Newcomers to the bar must take off their shoes and hang them over the line that stretches the floor. Inevitably, by the time visitors leave, their shoes will be shined and filled with small trinkets. As you enter, what would you like to do? Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. If the kingdom's adversaries discover the barrier is down, the time of peace may end. Indeed, that's why it's a secret, yeah. I have the Sablewood PDF, actually. Hold on. We won't really look at this too much because I don't want to bore you guys. Unless you are enjoying this kind of thing. Hold on. Boo. But I also think Sablewood is like a much bigger area than we think, right? Or is that what you guys are saying? So here's the Sablewood PDF. It's a location, like almost gazetteer, which fills out the world a lot more. And it's something I won't read it, it's long. I'm going to read it in my own time, I think. Oh, it's got environments. It's got environments. Hold on. Hold your horses. It's got loot. All right, I'm going to read this backwards like a maniac. We're going to start at the back in the environment section. The Village of Hush is a tier 1 social. I love seeing what they... Because I really struggle with coming up with social environments, so I want to see what they do. Guest privileges passive. Any overnight visitor is taken in by family and given shelter for 3 nights. During this time, the guest needs have priority, and they can use anything that belongs to their hosts. After 3 nights, the visitors must trade families or leave town. I read trade families as like trading people, but it just means, you gotta go live with someone else. Clovis Tavern. At the center of town is a massive 6-story tavern built around the trunk of an ancient tree. The tavern is where most of the village gathers in the evening. Don't use town and village in the same thing. Here, PCs can learn rumors, meet the villagers, and relax. When they leave, the shoes they put up on the clothing line have minor trinkets inside. Yeah, that's... Preparations. A prominent member of the community approaches the PCs asking for help with unique preparations for the arrival of the town's leaders, the Faceless Six. That sounds like an anime thing. The Faceless Six. Now this is leading into me wanting it to be a cult. The Faceless Six are evil. They're in charge. The whole town is like brainwashed. Oh man. Leave of the Trees. Reaction. Spend a fear. When someone abuses guest privileges to summon 12 young dryads. 12? They kidnap the culprit and drag them off to face the justice of the Sablewoods. That's fun. When someone abuses guest privileges. Right, so I guess that's how they deal with, like, criminals. So this actually feeds into the fear thing, the cult thing even more. Or, like, some kind of evil arcane thing where it's like, actually the town is the village is held captive by the woods around them. And if people aren't nice to each other, that's a 20. That's nice. That's good. If people aren't like polite to each other and friendly, then a bunch of young dryads come in and kidnap them and drag them into the woods. Oh my god. So Clover is in Hush, and then on page 4 it says Clover is the center of the city. Okay, we'll make our way up to that. That must be a mistake. It's already been called a town and a village. It's the village of Hush. Right. I believe you, but it has to be a mistake. I've never played Sable before. Perhaps I should have with my players. It seems like a good tutorial. Yeah. Bandit hideout and underroot tunnels also. Dude, I can't believe there's like 3 big environments in here that I didn't know about. Thorn fence. Make an attack against a target within close range on a success deal 1d8. Wait, is this is adversary? No, it's not. Make an attack. Thorn fence. Make an attack against a target within close range on a success deal. So I guess it's like. I guess it's like a plant or like a thorn wall that will like reach out and hit someone if they get close enough. You know what? I need to read this. I'm being so really back. It's a bandit hideout. A shabby but well-defended hideout nestled among the brambles of Sablewood. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And there's a thorn fence that can deal damage. There's patrols. If the party decides to fight their way through, but you want to abstract the battle to save time, call for a group action, asking each member of the party how they contribute to the fight. You can tell this was like from before, because I feel like they would never say just group action now. It would be a group action role. With one PC making the main role for the group. Okay. On a success with fear, each PC must mark stress and 1 HP or 1 armor slot. On a failure, each PC must... That's so interesting. It's a fast forward through a battle. It's like the fight happens, you win, but how many resources did you lose? And we'll roll to find out. I actually really like that. That's fun. If there's ever like a little fight that you just don't, that narratively makes sense to happen, but you don't actually want to play it out, that's good. On a success with fear, each PC must mark stress and 1 HP or 1 armor slot. On a failure, so no matter what, you're going to be like marking something. It's just how bad the battle took its toll on you. Yeah, I like that a lot. I wonder how satisfying it is for players, though. But from a GM's point of view, I like it. Okay, that's cool. Underroot tunnel system. Hidden entrance. A series of passageways. So this is a mini dungeon. Fortified and well-kept tunnels leading to underborn communities. Hidden entrance. The first challenge of the underroot tunnels is finding them. PCs must complete a progress counter to find a viable entrance. Then it's a series of passageways, all alike. Navigating to a particular location in tunnels requires a progress counter. And then it's got potential challenges. Include identical passages, damaged stairwells leading to a lower level, route blockage, and a flooded tunnel. I actually really like these kind of environments. Route blockage. Reveal a path ahead that has been blocked by the shifting of a great sablewood tree. And tollkeepers. Spend a phase to introduce a number of jagged knife lackeys for combat. Dude, this is great. I can't believe this stuff's not in the core rulebook, if I'm being honest. All of that for 1 fear. Fear is not created equally, you know? Sometimes you spend a fear and it rains. Other times you spend a fear and a dragon shows up and burns a village to the ground. It's just what it is. To Kill a Tree, Triceros made a version of his starter. Yes, I watched that. It's very good. Triceros came in here, not yesterday, the day before, and I told him he did a very good job on that. The village smells like Fae. Yeah. Has to be a mistake because then the entire adventure makes 0 sense. Yeah. Random venting. My DM just ghosted in the middle of our campaign, then just texted the chat randomly after like several months saying he was prepping for our next session. Did he get blipped out of existence, like in the Marvel universe? Your DM just ghosted in the middle of our campaign, then just texted me randomly after like several months saying he's prepping for our next session. That's crazy. Yeah, maybe he got frozen in like a space-time continuum situation. Or he went on like travels with the Doctor across time and space, and they thought they came back at the right time, but were a little off. That's wild. I would not. I mean, ghosting in general is just awful to do. He got snapped. He got Thanosed. He got Thanosed. He got Thanos. Yeah, Thanosed. So environments are solid. I'm going to presume the adversaries are pretty fun. Equipment, a Sable Blade you can give out. Mark a stress before a damage roll to increase your damage total by a +3. And you can do that every time. A +3, sir? It's just damage rolls, I guess. An Eel Legator Scale Shield, fun. Add a +1 to your damage thresholds. Add +2 to your damage roll. Add +2 to all damage rolls? Tier 1? What are we talking about here? Wait, there's no downside to this. I mean, it's a shield, so you gotta hold it. You gotta have like two weapon, two hand, two. I've lost the plot. You know what I mean? This will evoke armor. When you take minor damage, roll a d12. If it rolls your level or lower, you can mark a stress instead. Interesting. I think that's actually probably quite balanced, because the higher level you get, the better it is. But the higher level you get, the more you'll want better armor. Like, the feature gets better the higher level you're up, but these numbers get worse the higher level you go. Returning Stone. This small stone can be placed anywhere and will teleport to your hand under one of the following conditions. Somebody comes within close range. Somebody within very close range is dealt damage. A certain amount of time passes when you speak a keyword. What's the point of that? This small stone can be placed anywhere and will teleport to your hand. If someone comes within close range of you? If somebody within very close range is dealt damage? A certain amount of time passes. What? Wait, what? I might be misunderstanding that. A card figurine in the shape of a raccoon. While carrying this in disabled, it gives you a +1 to your evasion. That's fun. Because it only works in Sablewood as well. Interesting. Sable leaf shoes. A set of shoes sewn out of the leaves of sablewood trees. They are light and flexible. Wearing them lets you spend hope to take advantage on agility rolls while in Sablewood. I like this little misnomer. It's like, it only works in Sablewood. And they've got some consumers here. A delicacy among the residents here. This is a large red-orange berry with a small insect floating in its center. When consumed, it provides resistance to magic damage until your next short rest. Okay. Okay. Rumors that can be used if you ever need to give information to the players. That's fun. Dude, this is actually a really helpful resource. It gives you ideas for moments of hope and moments of fear. That's a cool idea. A tiger elk tearing its prey limb from limb. So I guess this is just for... Wait, does it say traveling? But random number tables. It's great. You want a good thing to happen, you want a bad thing to happen. It's a less useful stone of sending. You can write a message on a rock and then say the keyword and the rock goes to the player. Right. Was that in there? That use, or is that just how you would use it, Scientist? It's a very smart way of using it. I did not clock onto that. I was trying to think of like it being a warning thing that if someone comes within close range of you, it teleport. Wait, let me go back. I'm confused. Returning stone. This small stone can be placed anywhere and will teleport to your hand under one of the following conditions. Somebody comes within close range of the rock. I don't think this is written well. If somebody comes within close range of the rock or of you, does it teleport? So it's a warning. It can be a warning. So like you put that at the entranceway to your base, like to a cave, and you're deeper in the cave. You want to know if someone comes in the cave. If anyone goes into the cave, this will teleport to you. Or if someone within very close range is dealt damage. But for someone to take damage within very close range, someone's probably coming within close range, unless it's a ranged attack. Like place outside to carry. That's the only thing I can really think of. Yeah, the writing on it is smart though as well. You can set it to set traps. Yeah, you know what, actually, Scientist? You know what? I'm overthinking it. The players can. It's just a fun thing that happens, and the players can be creative with it. Not everything needs a direct use. That's so true. You could put it on like a trap door that when it's removed, the door flies open, right? And when you could leave it there, and as soon as like an enemy stands on the trap, you can call the stone back with the keyword, and they'd fall down. So actually, maybe it's a really freaking good item. Because I was looking at it through the lens of like every item needs like an actual use, but I wasn't looking at it through the lens of like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like this item just does something, and it's up to you to figure out how to use it, right? Okay. Fire Falcons. Wait, so is this story hooks? A thistle folk stole something of importance from a merchant, and they need help to get it back. The warning briar cut through a small village, decimating homes and causing them to relocate. 3 kids have gone missing after sneaking off to the... Dude, this is way more built out than I thought it would be. This is really built out. This is hidden. This is like well hidden. I mean, it's not well hidden. It's very easily accessible through their website. But I mean, like, I think a lot of people don't realize this is here. So this is about thistle folk. They have eclectic villages. Though functionally invisible to outsiders, the villages within the bramble are vibrant, sprawling, and eclectic. Ah. Okay. Yeah, and you got a list of NPCs as well. What is this? Hold on. Settlements. Oh, this is the page 4 you were talking about. The small village of Hush sits nestled into the heart of Sablewood. It's quaint and quiet, renowned for its friendly residents who are accustomed to providing room, board, and food. It's a cult. Wards maintained by the Wi-Fi Arcanist keep the most dangerous animals and disturbing anyone residing in 4 dwarven stone pillars, marking the corners of town. And you were saying Clover's Tavern. At the centre of town is a massive 6-story tavern built around the trunk of an ancient tree. Considered by most to be the oldest building in Sablewood, this is the hub of activity and socialization in the city. Yeah, it does say it. It does call it a city. When newcomers arrive, they must take their shoes off and hang them. Yeah. The 6th floor, tavern requires counterweight. Yeah, that has to be a mistake. It just means village. It just means village. They probably at one point meant it to be a... This would be an easy fix for them, though, I think. But maybe they're just like, maybe this is just so old and it's before the game came out that they're just like, it is what it is. A warning if the person you're protecting gets attacked, yeah. Place it at the bottom of a pitfall trap. Now you know something fell into your trap and go check it out. Yeah, it's true as well. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I take it all back. I think it's a great item. You choose one condition, not all of them. Oh, that as well. This returning stone has got so much time spent on it by me at this point. This small stone placed anywhere and will teleport to your hand under one of the following conditions. Under one of the following conditions. So you like put it down and you decide which one it is. I think you could. I would play it so that you could do all of them as well. Like you can choose. You can pick and choose. You know, you might be like, this won't do anything if someone comes in close range of it, but it will if somebody within very close range is dealt damage, or 3 days pass, or when you speak, or when I say the word stone. What if you use like a familiar and put the stone on them? Then if the familiar gets attacked, you know that it's hostile versus a friendly coming nearby. Yeah, that's good as well. Give it to a lookout and tell them to trigger it if it is trouble. Yeah. Cave of Billowing is the best item in D&D. Change my mind. Folding boat, bro. Give your players a folding boat in a campaign where there's no water or oceans or lakes. It's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. Right. As I said earlier, Saberwood has much more meat on its bones than Fandalva. Now you know what I was talking about. Yeah. There's a lot here. Do not challenge Zen on anything rock related. Yeah, he knows his rocks. I wish I read this docu game before starting my current Saberwood campaign. Why isn't this in the back of the core rulebook? Yeah, honestly, I do wonder. I think probably if I was to make an educated guess, it's that they didn't like how some of the stuff is. Like they had this and they were like, it's close, but it's not quite where it needs to be to match up with everything else, because it is full of like a lot more specific things, I think. Do you just mean the actual, did you mean the rock, the returning stone? The returning stone should be in the core rulebook. Maybe they just wanted to keep this stuff separate, as a separate entity. Yeah, why update this when you can like make new versions and stuff? If it's an honest to goodness value add item that really can be used in a ton of creative ways. Yeah, it is. The Arcanist's house gets big and small as she wishes. Clearly Hush does too. Yeah, sometimes Hush is a city, sometimes it's a town, sometimes it's a village. It really depends on how polite the people are being in the village, you know? Yeah, Hush and the capital are 100% separate places. Otherwise, nothing would make sense. Give the villain a bomb attached to a returning stone that they then summon to hold the party hostage. I would not rule it. And at this point, I've read the returning stone description many times. Maybe that's why it's not in there, because it is a little bit wordy. I don't think other things can teleport with the rock. I don't think anything can teleport with the rock. Like a boat that you can fit in your pocket. The folding boat is a D&D item that I love. It like rolls up like a, you know, one of those tubes that people put art into. It's like a big like box like that. Food is on the stove when you're ready. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna go grab my food in a bit, guys. I think what you're seeing is what campaign frames ended up being. Yeah, I think you might be right. Actually. Let's just quickly finish this off then, and then There's actually so much stuff in here. There's so much stuff in here that I'm going to go read this tonight. It's very, very cool, I have to say. I didn't place it, but you can tell, so you just have all that's left there. It's fine. Do you want to eat together real quick, or are you going out soon? Because I can end this. I don't care about these guys. These losers. I'll ditch chat in a second to come hang out with you if you want. But if you say no, then I've got to make an apology. I bet she's not even in chat anymore. I ruined it. Well, where did all my viewers go? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Everyone unsubscribed. No, I'm good. Order eating. Okay. Following the time. I love chat. You're great, by the way. Chat's great. Yeah, Mitchie. Yeah, good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. That's because I've not had your Japanese steak and rice. Oh yeah, is it good? Oh yeah. Yeah. The steak part sounds a lot more exciting than the rice, but I guess you gotta have the rice on there. Yes, and she'll be playing on Friday when we do the Sablewood one shot. Well, my camera. Maybe I'll just use the webcam. Tomorrow on Friday. But yeah, Cat the Mao is going to be playing. What's the character's name that begins with M? The elf sorcerer. Mayfair? That's not right. Malloy? No. Marlowe. Yeah, she's going to be playing Marlowe, so that should be fun. No, don't leave us. I'm just in the void right now. Sometimes I go into the void, and it's fine. But I probably should. I kind of don't want to, though. I kind of don't want to leave because I have 32 people watching on YouTube right now. So thanks, YouTube. And barely anyone chatting, which is... I think it's just people just chat more on Twitch. Or actually, maybe my YouTube thing is... No, I think my YouTube thing just froze. Hold on. Maybe I don't have 32 people in there. I do, but a lot more people are chatting than I thought. Marlowe, Megalus. You're fun and have good camera presence. That's not directed to me, is it? That's directed to my wife. Okay. Marlowe the what? Marlowe the fair weather. No, Adler, no. You're solid. Adler, you're solid. Maybe hook up both cams and switch to webcam when your main done dies. I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on with that. Like the stream, yes. I would like some likes, please. Live streamers. I feed off the likes. That nom. Throw them my way. Just go down and hit the like button. It's amazing. There's also, I don't actually know what it does, but there's a build. I get told how many people react to my stream, and I think there's a button on YouTube underneath the live stream. It's like a heart. I'm looking at it now, and you can press the heart or whatever, and it should appear in chat in a fun way. And I don't know what it does, but apparently YouTube Analytics finds it important to tell me how many people reacted to it. Getting Toba's likes early. Oh yeah, look, I can see. I don't know who's reacting, but I can see love hearts coming and hundreds. Oh, okay. Yeah. Go for it, guys. I don't think it does anything. And then I can do I can start a quick Q&A and say, is it okay that I'm not on camera? Oh no, sorry. I can do a poll. And be like, yes, no. I did not even notice you were gone. Oh, you guys being nice. 57% of you being nice. 20% are being jerks. Don't get too full on likes. You still have dinner to... It's like a separate stomach. It's like dessert. There's like the section of your stomach for main food. There's a section for dessert, and then there's a section for likes. It's better. Yeah, I don't know why, but I feel better being on camera. But yeah, so providing nothing goes wrong on Friday, we'll do this live stream. We'll do the game live. I'm kind of very nervous about it, but I know it'll be fine. I was very nervous about putting out that that last actual play, and in the end, I ended up really enjoying the whole process. So it's just something. It's like excited nerves, and like as long as I tell you guys, technology might betray us. It's fine. There's like there's no stakes. It's low stakes. Like if our internet can't hack it or anything like that, it's like we just apologize and we record off stream, and I'll try and make a fun video for you guys about it. I'm gonna end the poll because it says yes, 69. Nice. My mum used to say we would eat video games instead of real food. Full of nutrition. I only use Twitch so I can earn the ability to roll dice. Straight in with a 16. That was pretty cool. I need to say like less this time around. Kat, you were fine. You were fine. It's me. I said 3,000 times. You just didn't see it because I cut out most of it. I still said a lot. I'd be like, okay, so the players, you're in a tavern, and what do you think you guys would do in this situation? How do you want to do this? A good technique that is simply force yourself to speak slower, and you'll cut out a lot of the filler words. Takes a while, but it helps massively. That's good advice. Yeah. Phil isn't as good as Matthew Mercer. Must be Matthew Mercer's fault. I hate Critical Role now. Is kind of how I feel like the culture on that side shifted. Bum, 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 bum. I actually still have like... I think we'll just do Theatre of the Mind on Friday. If I've got time, I'd love to. And I've seen people online build battle maps and stuff for the Quickstart. But... And I do want to use Owlbear Rodeo as well to... like use tokens and battle maps. I just don't think that I haven't come up with a good layout. So like when we switch to combat, there's 3 players, or in the future maybe I'll have 4 or 5 players, and it's like where do they go, and then where does Owlbear Rodeo go? And I've got to set that up, and I don't think I'll be able to do that. I'll play around with it tomorrow, but I don't think I'll have time to get that in a nice position. Have to refresh the page. Oh yeah, let me know how many likes I have on YouTube. I'm presuming it's like 4. Or maybe I'm choosing a low number on purpose, so I'm not hurt. Also, don't sweat it. I've noticed even Brennan on C4 uses so much filler words recently. Yeah. It's a very normal thing to do. I just received the new adventure PDF. Can't wait to read it. Why won't they send me one? Darrington Press, I'm begging you. It would make me cooler. Just send me an adventure so I can play it. Am I going to use Daggerbrain or Heart of Daggers? I mean, as GM, I'm not going to use one. I think for my players, are the pre-generated characters on Daggerbrain or Heart of Daggers? Because I know they're on Demi playing. If they're on one of those two, it's up to them. Whatever they like. 24 likes, that's 20 more than I thought. I'm willing to send you one. Q-Box, I know you know that it's really not about the adventure, and it's really about notice me senpai. But we'll see. Phil, take your own advice. The Brennan pause. The Brennan pause is something different, though. If you watch the video, you'd know. I'm trying to remember what the Brennan pause is because I can't remember. The Brennan pause is to let players finish role playing. Right? Or did I call it the Brennan breath? No, it is. It is. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. I can't remember. I can't remember my own videos now. Also, Alchemy VTC isn't 3D. I vaguely remember that. Yes, I kind of thought it was, actually. Just pretend that's what it is. I think it is. I think it is. My last one I did about that, I did the Brennan pause, and I did the Brennan... What was the other one? This was a video from many videos back at this point. Yeah, it's nuanced. It's nuanced. Oh, the Brennan Whisper was the other one, which is where he talks really quietly. He'll be like talking normally, and then he'll go and you guys head down into the depths of the arcane foundry where the corridors twist, and he'll get so quiet. He'll get so quiet, and eventually go like, and boom, and it'll be like this huge, and he'd be like, it's the fireworks. And it's like, God damn you, Brennan. He's good at what he does. Did you try the contact us form on the Darrington site? I haven't. Yeah, I haven't yet. I have done in the past, I think, but I've also been in touch with them specifically. Like, I have an email that I can send them, which I've just held off doing because I don't want to be a nuisance. But maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it. I've said to myself I want to get more. If I can get more views, if I can become a bit more, and I think I'm getting there. If I can become like a bit more of a proper, like, go-to Daggerheart channel, and it feels like I'm getting there, then once I'm in that position, I'll have a lot more power to, ask for stuff. But I don't want to be like a creator who's just like prodding them all the time. I don't mean to stroke your ego too much, but I used both the pause and the whisper in a game right after watching the video, and it worked so well. All I'm doing is stealing from Brennan, so it's Brennan you're stroking. The way I'm planning to do it is I created pre-made characters in Heart of Daggers where people can just join the campaign and claim them. Right. Check out the official Albert Rodeo YouTube channel. They have 21-minute videos specifically about setting up the quick start stuff. I did see that, and I thought that was a really good video. But I need to go back into it and double check all of it. Yeah, Baltus, yeah. I think that was what it was. Guelpho, good night, man. Yeah, I really like the Daggerheart ranges in Albert Rodeo. I really like them, actually. I think they're really good. I wish Twitch had like a like button, or that I could get you guys to do something on Twitch. It's weird it doesn't, to be honest. I feel like, or maybe people can take advantage on it or something. But we have been streaming for 2 hours and 44 minutes. I have 20 viewers, which is fantastic, on Twitch right now. If you guys stick around just a few more minutes, we'll raid someone. And I think it'll be a really good raid. And then as soon as I've raided, you guys can go off and do whatever you want. You can keep watching them. Let me see if there's anyone in the D&D or Daggerheart space on Twitch right now that we can... If you guys know any streamers that you like who are live right now, who would welcome 20 viewers. Damn it, I knew it would drop. We're down to 18 now. So stop leaving. We'll keep streaming. But no, I am going to actually... I am going to raid soon and end the stream with 18 viewers.
Like, Ampharos looks mostly nothing like the previous evolution.
You've been using Canvas of Kings, which is recommended by Power Word Spill, and it works so good for Daggerhearts because you can kind of just guesstimate how close and far ranges are. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Who is live? Joe Cat's live with 635 viewers. They'll really appreciate 10 new ones. Anyone smaller? Because we're at 18 viewers, and that's like that's a big number for a raid. And 8 is solid. Ideally, I'd want to find someone who would be like... Should we just do...
Ooh, I don't think this is the one we lie to, guys.
I apologize, guys. I shouldn't say that's right. I should do it in secret. We're just going to raid someone playing D&D. And I've got to speak in English, because I've had a bad run recently. of accidentally raiding people who are speaking a different language. And... that's a rerun. Not sure if you want to do something good, but you can raid to... What do you mean by... You're not sure if I want to do something good? Oh, because they are... That's like a charity thing, right? Hold on, maybe. If I can't find like a... We'll do that if I can't find someone. Because that's solid, but... Go on, let's just smash these guys. I'm going to get some food and I'm going to go play Apex Legends or Overwatch. Have a go on the steel cage. Alright, we're raiding out to these guys. I'm sure they're great, but I have no affiliations to them, so if they're not, it's not my fault. Thanks for watching, everyone, and you've been awesome. And hopefully I'll see you on Friday live when we play a game, which I'm really nervous for. Good night, guys. Alright, YouTube, now the Twitch people have gone. And now they've all raided out. No, I do have to go. Catch you guys.